right. So if you couldn't tell, today's video is all about glizzies. We're gonna do a basic, a mid, and an amazing. So we're gonna start off with the most basic of basic glizzies ever, and we're gonna start, of course, with the whitest of white buns possible. This bun is so white, its name is Chad and has a 401k. Then we're gonna get a glizzy that is absolutely mystery meat. No idea what's in there, even the ingredients are rather vague, and of course, all of this is no name. Look, I know it might seem strange to be watching a video about a basic hot dog, but by the end of this video, you'll have upgraded your wiener game times 1,000. Trust me when I say you've never seen a wiener do this, at least not, from the other side of a paywall. Obviously, we need to start with some boiling water. Look, Mom, doing the helicopter. First things first, we're going to drop them into their little hot tub. And then we're just going to let them boil until they float to the top and some of them split open. That's pretty much going to let us know that they're all done. You guys have done this before, you know. They say that toddlers and drunk people are very similar, and this does not end in their love for glizzies. But struggle meal or not, here it is, the basic ass glizzy. And with that out of the way, we can move on to our second wiener. The mid-level glizzy. Something you probably had at a backyard barbecue, or even just at home for a little bit of a struggle meal, but you had a few more ingredients in the fridge. This is where we really start to be able to add some texture and a few different flavors to upgrade that basic glizzy and take it to a different level. Other than that, we're going to upgrade the quality of the bun, which is going to add quite a bit. Now, they're not that much more expensive for a slightly better bun, but the taste and the texture difference is huge. Also, if you're not toasting your buns, you are just not living life properly. It's not that hard to do, it takes a couple more seconds, and the flavor and texture difference is phenomenal. Now let's be real, if I was doing this in the summer, I'd probably be barbecuing these, but not everyone has a barbecue, and because it's the winter, we're inside, so the next best thing is to just give them a very quick and hot sear to get some color and some flavor on them. This is going to add a whole different dimension, and of course, because nobody likes just cold cheese on a glizzy, if we can open up that glizzy while it's still hot and add some cheese that'll melt while we're plating the rest of it, a little bit of relish is going to add a nice tang that wasn't there before, a little bit of acid, and then now we can kind of add that crunch and flavor of the onions, and just because we're fancy, we're going to do a little bit of plate art, and that's so much better even than the original, and it's not that much more work. And now for the moment we've all been waiting for, our top level glizzy. So fair warning, we're about to speed up because we got lots to get through. At this point, we're going to make our own barbecue sauce. After we get all the ingredients into the actual bowl, we're going to transfer it into a pot, and we're going to bring it to a boil, just very light boil, and then reduce the heat and let it simmer for 10-15 minutes. And that's going to give us the texture that we're looking for in the end. Do you have to make your own barbecue sauce? Absolutely not, but we're cooks on this channel, and cooks are going to cook, so there you go. Now you might have noticed that I used a little bit of liquid smoke in this recipe. Be very careful you don't overdo the liquid smoke. It does not take a lot to absolutely blow your face off and taste nothing but smoke. Now for the next part of our recipe, it is better to start this the day before so you have something that's actually had some time to infuse, but it works just as well after a couple hours, so even if you make it in the morning, it's not too bad. We're actually going to do a quick pickle red onion, and it's a really simple thing to do. We just have to get all our ingredients together, put them into a pot, give it a little bit of heat right up until the point where it wants to boil but it's not actually boiling, and all the sugar has dissolved and there's no granules of sugar or salt. At that point, we're going to let it cool a little bit and pour it back into the jar with our onions. It is a good idea to heat up the jar before you do this so you don't have hot liquid going into a cold jar. Toss those onions into the fridge overnight, and we're going to start prepping our coleslaw. So really simple, we're just breaking down some cabbage, and then we're going to do some carrots as well, and we're going to make our own coleslaw sauce. If you're grating your carrots like I am, just make sure you do it at like a 45-degree angle and you'll get longer shreds of carrot. At this point, we're going to heavily salt our slaw mixture, and we're going to put it aside for a little bit. All that moisture is going to get pulled out by the salt, and then we're going to rinse it. Do not forget to rinse the slaw afterwards, otherwise you will have super salty slaw. Another little hint here about texture is using celery seeds instead of celery salt. You'll actually get that slight popping texture of the seeds themselves. You can see here our slaw that's been sitting for a while has actually really put off some liquid, so we're going to rinse it thoroughly in a colander so it's not salty, dry it out, and then put it back in the bowl before we add our coleslaw sauce. dressing? I guess, yeah, dressing. That'd be the better word. This would be the best time to add a little bit more salt or vinegar, or both, to give it the tang and saltiness you want. Once again, we've upgraded our buns one more time, but we're gonna do even better by making a slightly flavored butter, and we're going to do that by absolutely munging the living hell out of some garlic, and then putting some butter directly on it and munging the hell out of the whole mess, and then reconstituting it into a nice little pat of butter that we will use to butter the buns. The shaping part is not 100% necessary, but you could put it back in the fridge and actually have a hard butter again. If you hadn't noticed, we're basically just getting everything ready before we actually start cooking, our mise en place, so to speak. That way when we do start cooking, we're just ready to go. Speaking of which, at this point we're making a soup stock, kind of. And that's actually what we're going to boil our glizzies in to start with. That's going to add a whole different flavor to the end result. Then we're going to pop them right back into that pan like we did before. Nice ripping hot pan. And I get a little bit impatient here, so bear with me. I'm going to add a little bit more fiery flavor. This is where we're going to start getting fancy with some cheese. This is pretty simple. We're just putting it on a nice hot surface here. Make sure it's kind of non-stick. And you'll notice it bubbles up and kind of melts, but at a certain point, the bottom is going to get solid enough that it turns into one whole piece. And you see, as soon as I move it around, the whole sheet moves. At that point, while it's still bubbly on top, we're going to roll our glizzy in it and then let it sit on that end to kind of seal up. And just because we can, and because I promised fancy nonsense, we're going to smoke these glizzies, cheese covered and all. So we got this cute little smoker machine. It's gonna put a ton of smoke right underneath that bowl, and we're gonna let it sit while we toast those buns on that same flat top. Quick shot of our toasty buns, and whoosh, the reveal. And with that final flourish, we're on to the plating. Just because we're fancy, once again, we're going to do a little bit of plate art. Look, the combination of the garlic butter and the nice freshness from that coleslaw and the sweet and salty and just savory flavors from the barbecue and the tang on those onions, all of that together is just a disgustingly good combination, and it's definitely worth doing. And with that, behold my sexy glizzy. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you had a good time. If you got any comments, how you would do things better, things maybe you didn't know how to do in the first place and thought they were pretty cool, just drop a like, give me a comment, subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss an episode. I'm Weaner-ine. Blah. I'm friends with Deadpool. It's like over, Weaner-kin. I have the high ground. You cap it, bro. Ohio. You were like a brother to me, Weaner-kin. I loved you. I hate you.